because in the book you talk about 6 different types of boundaries. Can you tell us what they are?
Yes. So in the book, I talk about 6 types of boundaries. And the first type of boundaries is physical boundaries. And this has to do with your personal space, your physical touch. And violations for that might look like physical abuse or when you're in the grocery store and someone is standing too close to you. The second type is sexual, and that is touching someone's body or commenting. And of course, for that, violations, the number one is assault, abuse, molestation, and inappropriate jokes about other folks' body. Number three is intellectual, and that is your thoughts and ideas. And those boundaries are being violated when we are ridiculing other people for having views or opinions that aren't unsafe, but just something that we don't agree with. Number four would be your sharing of your feelings. So when we're in relationships with people, it's important that they hear us, that they understand us, and we share a lot emotionally with other people. And so violating someone's emotional boundary would look like invalidating their feelings, telling them that what they're saying doesn't matter, or minimizing what they're saying. Material boundaries, that's your possession. So I remember one time in college, I let someone borrow my flat irons and they returned them back and my little plate was broke, right? Like they violated my boundary and they had the nerve to say, that's how I got them. Oh, so using someone's things and, tearing it up or taking things without permission, those are all violations of someone's material boundaries. And then the last one, which I think is the biggest, that's time boundaries. And that's where we manage our time. It's about how other people try to manage our time. And the really big violation that we have there is not practicing self care or overcommitting ourselves or even asking other people to do things when we know that they may not have the capacity to do it. Those are ways that we violate other people's times, but mostly with the time boundary is typically us doing it to ourselves.
And you mentioned that that is a big violation. So in the book, you make the distinction between little b versus big B violations. So can you talk more about the differences between the two? How can people identify those?
Yeah, so little b is like the everyday little things that sort of happen that don't penetrate your spirit. It's just like, oh my gosh, I was talking to someone and they just told me a bunch of information that I wasn't ready for, right? So that happens occasionally. So it's like this little micro violation. The big B's are the things that have eroded the relationship. So codependency, enmeshment, long-term history of one-sided relationships. Those are those really big boundary violations. And that requires a deeper level of work because we have to do more to repair the boundary issues in those relationships. With a little b, if it's something like, your coworker has asked for your help on a project, you told them no, and they asked again, it's not a deep offense, but it might be something worth addressing to make sure that the boundary is not continuing to be violated after you say no. But when we have those long histories with folks of them violating boundaries, it's a really big violation.
Yeah.